Morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss in Civics Unit 3 State Government. In the previous Civics part, Unit 2, you have learnt about central government. Now we are going to talk about the state government and what are their powers. Learning objectives. Students should acquire the knowledge about the structure of the state government. To understand the powers and functions of the governor, chief minister, other ministers and speaker. To know about the state legislature. To know about the student, to understand the functioning of the judicial system in the state. First we'll go to the introduction. The Constitution of India envisages for a federal government. What is Constitution? The fundamental law of a state. Having a separate systems of administration for the union and the states. As we all know that previously we were having 29 states, but now only there are 28 states and 9 union territories and 1 national capital territory known as Delhi, which is in India. The Constitution contains provisions for the governance of both the Union and the states. It lays down a uniform structure for the state government in Part 6 of the Constitution from Article 152 to 237, which is applicable to all the states. The structure of the state government, as formed in the center, consists of 3 branches. What are the 3 branches? The executive, the legislature and the judiciary. Look at that executive and at the same part of the state government. Look at this, the 3 different types: executive, legislature and the judiciary. Executive, who has the powers? The governor has the power of executive, chief minister and the council of ministers. Look at the legislature. What is the legislature? The group of people in a country who have the power to make and change the laws. That is called legislature. Legislature has 2 different: legislative council and the legislative assembly. Legislative council or otherwise called upper house. Legislative assembly or otherwise called lower house. As we all know about the Indian government, that is parliament, has a 2 legislative power. That is, one is the upper house Rajya Sabha and the lower house is the Lok Sabha. Like that, in the state government we have legislative council and legislative assembly. Now look at the judiciary form based on the judgment. We have a high court, district courts and other courts. But when we learnt about the entire Indian Union, we had a Supreme Court. But here we are talking about the state government. For that we have a high court, each and every district courts and the other sub courts. The first point of view, the executive. The governor is the constitutional head of the state executive. Who is the head of the constitutional head? The governor is the constitutional head of the state executive. Generally, there is a separate governor in each state. So, every state has a separate governor. But if the situation warrants, so the same person may be appointed as the governor of 2 or more states. Article 154 vests the executive power of the state in the governor. Appointment of the governor. The governor of a state shall be appointed by the president. Please make a note. The governor of a state shall be appointed by whom? By the president. His usual term of office is 5 years, but he holds office during the pleasure of the president. So generally, the governor does not belong to the state where he is appointed. He can also be transferred from one state to another by the president. He can also resign any time by addressing his resignation to the president. The legislature of a state or a high court has no role in the removal of a governor. So a person may be appointed as a governor for any number of terms, not only for the 5 years, for many years he may experience. 2 conventions have been set up in the matter of appointing a person as a governor of a state. What? He should not be a resident of a state concerned. He should not belong to the particular state. And the state government concerned is consulted and its views are sought regarding the proposed choice. According to the Article 158, 3A, where the same person is appointed as governor of 2 or more states, the emoluments and allowances payable to the governor shall be allocated among the states in such proportion as the president may by order determine. Now, what are the qualifications is necessary to become a governor? Article 157 and Article 158 of the Constitution of India who specify the eligibility requirements for the post of governor. What are the qualifications? They are as follows. He or she should be a citizen of India. He or she must have completed 35 years of age. He or she should not be a member of parliament or any state legislature. If he is a member of any legislature, automatically vacates his seat on assuming the office. He or she should not hold any other profitable occupations. So it is in your second brief answer, the qualification it's asked you. Now, powers and functions of the governor. As we have learnt already about the president, the same like the power for the state in the governor part. So, governor is the head of the state executive and he has enormous powers. In the exercise of functions and powers, the governor, except in certain cases, is to be guided by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister under Article 163. What are the executive powers of the governor? He appoints the leader of the majority party in the state legislative assembly as the Chief Minister of the state. He appoints other members of the Council of Ministers on the recommendation of the Chief Minister. He appoints the chairman and members of the State Public Service Commission. He appoints the State Election Commissioner and determines his condition of service and tenure of office. So, Governor, he acts as the Chancellor of universities in the state. Governor also appoints the Vice Chancellors of universities in the state. Governor directly rules the state when there is the imposition of the President's rule in the state. Now the legislative powers, that is lawmaking or law giving. The governor is an integral part of the state legislature, but he is not a member in the either house of the legislature. In this capacity, he enjoys the following legislative powers and functions. He has the right to summon, that means to gather, to prorogue, to demolish the state legislature and dissolve the state legislative assembly. He can address the state legislature at the commencement of the first session after each general election and the first session of each year. He can send messages to the houses of the state legislature relating to a bill pending in the legislature. He can appoint any member of the legislative assembly to preside over its proceedings when the offices of both the speaker and the deputy speaker fall vacant. He can nominate one member to the state legislative assembly from the Anglo-Indian community. He nominates 1/6 of the members of the state legislative councils from amongst the persons having special knowledge or practical experience in literature, science, art, cooperative movement and social service. Every bill passed by the state legislature will become law only after his signature. Whose signature? Governor's signature. But when a bill is sent to the governor after it is passed by the legislature, he has the options to give his assent to the bill or withhold his assent to the bill or return the bill for the reconsideration of the legislature. Governor can promulgate ordinances when the state legislature is not in session under Article 213. Finally, we are going to talk about the financial powers. The Constitution confers on the governor the duty to get prepared and introduce to the state legislature the annual budget and also the supplementary budgets if necessary. Money bills can be introduced in the Legislative Assembly only with his prior recommendation. What bill? Money bills. He can make advances out of the state contingency fund to meet any unforeseen expenditure. He constitutes a finance commission after every 5 years to review the financial position of the panchayats and the municipalities. Now the next power is judicial power, that is legal or otherwise we called as a judiciary. Governor appoints the Attorney General of the state. He makes appointment, postings and promotions of the district judges in consultation with the state high court. The Chief Justice of High Court in the state is appointed by the President in consultation with him, with the Governor. He can pardon, that is excuse, to commute or reprieve the punishment on receipt of the appeals for mercy except death sentence. Now other optional powers, discretionary powers. The Governor can reserve a bill for the consideration of the President. He can call the leader of any party to form ministry in the state when there is no clear-cut majority to any party in the Legislative Assembly after the general elections. He can dismiss the Council of Ministers when it is unable to prove the confidence of the Legislative Assembly. And finally, we are talking about the emergency powers. If the Governor is not satisfied that the government of the state is not carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, he may, under Article 356, recommend to the President to impose the President rule in that state. As soon as the President rule is imposed, the administration of the state is carried on by the Governor as the representative of the President. Now, privileges of the Governor. What are the rights the Governor has? As per Article 361(1) provides for the following privileges for the Governor. The Governor of a state is not be answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of the powers and duties of his office or for any act done or purporting to be done by him in the exercise and performance of those powers and duties. No process for the arrest or imprisonment of the government of a state shall issue from any court during his term of office. Now, we are going to discuss about the Chief Minister. In the scheme of parliamentary system of government provided by the Constitution, the Governor is a nominal executive authority and the Chief Minister is a real executive authority. Who is the nominal head? Governor. The real head is Chief Minister. In other words, the Governor is the head of the state while the Chief Minister is the head of the government. How it is called? Governor is the head of the state. Chief Minister is the head of the government. The appointment of the Chief Minister. The Chief Minister is appointed by whom? By the Governor of the state. The term of the Chief Minister is not fixed. He may remain as the Chief Minister as long as he enjoys the support of the majority of the members of the Legislative Assembly. He has to resign when he loses his confidence of the majority in the Assembly. It is understood that normally he completes 5 years term like other members in the Legislative Assembly. What are the powers and functions of the Chief Minister? You know about our Chief Minister's name. Who is the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu? Yeah, very good. Relating to the Council of Ministers. The Chief Minister recommends the persons who can be appointed as ministers by Governor. He allocates the portfolios among the ministers. He shuffles and reshuffles his ministry. He presides over the meetings of the Council of Ministers and influences its decisions. He guides, directs, controls and coordinates the activities of all the ministers. Relating to the Governor, he advises the Governor in relation to the appointment of the following officials. Advocate General of the State, State Election Commissioner, Chairman and members of the State Public Service Commission, Chairman and members of the State Planning Commission. One more is Chairman and members of the State Finance Commission. Relating to the state legislature, the Chief Minister advises the Governor with regard to the summoning and proroguing the sessions of the state legislature. He announces the government policies on the floor of the House. He can introduce the bills in the Legislative Assembly. Who can? Chief Minister. He can recommend for the dissolution of the Legislative Assembly to the Governor any time. Now we are talking about the Council of Ministers. The next post after the Chief Minister, Council of Ministers, that is Cabinet. The Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the state legislature. All the members of the Council of Ministers must be the members of the state legislature. Those who are not the members at the time of their appointment must secure their seats in the legislature within a period of 6 months. If a no confidence motion is passed by the Legislative Assembly, the state ministry shall resign. So, Article 163 provides for a Council of Ministers to aid and advise the Governor. According to Article 163(1), there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Chief Minister at the head to aid and advise the Governor in the exercise of his function, except in so far as he is by or under this Constitution required to exercise his functions or any of them in his discretion. That is optional one. Other provisions relating to ministers. Article 164(1) holds that the Chief Minister shall be appointed by the Governor. Chief Minister shall be appointed only by the Governor. Article 164(1)(a) states that the total number of ministers, including the Chief Minister, in the Council of Ministers in a state shall not exceed 15% of the total number of members of the Legislative Assembly. These are the provisions relating to the ministers. Now, the functions and powers of the Council of Ministers. It's your third detailed question. It formulates and decides the policies of the state and implements them very effectively. It decides the legislative programs of the Legislative Assembly and sponsors all important bills. It controls the financial policy and decides the tax structure for the public welfare of the state. It makes the important appointments of the head of the departments. It discusses and takes efforts on the dispute with other states. It frames a proposal for incurring the expenditure out of the state reserves. It decides all the bills, whether ordinary bills or money bills, to be introduced in the Legislative Assembly only. You know, already we have learnt about the money bill. Money bill introduced only in the lower house, that is Lok Sabha in the parliament side. Here in the state wise we are talking about Legislative Assembly, lower house. Each minister of the Council of Ministers supervises, controls and coordinates the department concerned. So what are the departments have been allotted to the ministers? Based on that, the people has to be take care. Annual financial statement called as the budget. It's finalized by the Council of Ministers. By whom the budget is finalizing? By the Council of Ministers. Now we are talking about the state legislature. That is about our government. The Constitution, which provides a legislature for every state. Most of the states have only unicameral legislature, that is Legislative Assembly alone. One among that good example is Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu state has only one house, Legislative Assembly. Some state has bicameral legislatures. By means both the two legislative house, upper house and lower house. Example: Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. They have two types of houses, the lower house and the upper house. The lower house are otherwise called Legislative Assembly, which represents the people of the state. The upper house, Legislative Council, which represents special interests like teachers, graduates and local governments. Look at this Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly, the Secretariat. In Tamil Nadu, According to the strength of Legislative Assembly, 234 members, the number of ministers may be up to 36, that is 15% of 234. Now, Legislative Assembly, lower house. The Legislative Assembly is a popular house. It is the real center of power in the state. It consists of members directly elected by the people on the basis of adult franchise. What is the age to give a vote? Above 18 years. Okay, that is universal adult franchise. The strength of the assembly varies from state to state depending upon the population. However, the maximum strength of the assembly must not exceed 500 or its minimum strength not be below 60. The term of office of the Legislative Assembly is 5 years. It can be dissolved even before the expiry of its term in case any ministers have been impeached. So between that itself it can be dissolved. Before its term ends, before the 5 years of their term. The size of the Legislative Council cannot be more than 1/3 the membership of the Legislative Assembly, lower house of that state. But its size cannot be less than 40. Now what are the composition, the structure of that? The Legislative Assembly of Tamil Nadu consists of 235 members, out of which 234 members are directly elected by the people from the constituency on the basis of adult franchise, and one member which is nominated by the governor from the Anglo-Indian community. Now, cabinet, that is Amaicharavai, and cabinet committees. A smaller body called cabinet, which is the nucleus of the Council of Ministers. It consists of only the cabinet ministers. It is a real center of the authority in the state government. The cabinet works through the various committees called cabinet committees. They are of two types. One is standing, another one is ad hoc. What is that form of standing? The former are of a permanent one nature, while the latter are of the temporary nature. Standing means permanent, ad hoc means temporary nature. Look at the speaker. The Legislative Assembly elects two of its members as the speaker and deputy speaker. The speaker may be removed from office by a resolution of the assembly after giving a 14 days notice. What is resolution? An official decision that is made after a group has voted. Such a resolution must be passed by a majority of the members present at the time of voting. The speaker does not vacate his office when the assembly is dissolved. He continues to be the speaker until the first sitting of the new assembly. While the office of the speaker is vacant, the deputy speaker performs his function. The Legislative Council, that is upper house. Legislative Council is upper house of the state legislature. The Vidhan Parishads, that is Legislative Council, forms a part of the state legislatures of India. In 6 of India's 28 states, the Legislative Council serves as the indirectly elected upper house of a bicameral legislature. It is also a permanent house because it cannot be dissolved. Every member of Legislative Council serves for 6-year term, with the terms staggered so that the terms of 1/3 of members expiring every 2 years. Only 1/3 of the people has been expired for every 2 years. Members of Legislative Councils must be citizens of India, not under 30 years of age, mentally sound, and his name should be in the voters list of the state from which he or she is contesting the election. The Tamil Nadu Legislative Council was abolished by Tamil Nadu Legislative Council Bill, Abolition Bill 1986. The act came into force on the 1st November 1986. Before that, Tamil Nadu has both bicameral legislature. But after 1986, 1987 onwards, only single, that is Legislative Assembly. Election to Legislative Council. 1/3 of the members are elected by local bodies. 1/12 of the members are elected by the graduates of the universities in the state. 1/12 of the members are elected by the graduate teachers. 1/3 of the members are elected by the members of the Legislative Assembly. 1/6 it's nominated by the governor, who is eminent in the field of literary excellence, art, social service, or cooperation. The chairman. Chairman is nothing but a chairperson. He or she is the presiding officer of the upper house. Make a note. Who is the presiding officer? The chairman. Presiding officer of the upper house. The members elect a chairman and a deputy chairman from among themselves. In the absence of the chairman, the deputy chairman officiate the functions of the legislative councils. Now look at this. Abolition or creation of legislative councils. Article 169 deals with the creation or abolition of legislative council in a state. Article 169 holds that if the state legislative assembly passes a resolution by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting, and by the majority of total strength of the house, requesting the parliament to create or to abolish the state legislative council, then the parliament may by law provide for the abolition and creation of the legislative councils, either to start, to create, or to stop. Functions of the state legislatures. Legislative powers, financial powers, controls over the executive. The state legislature can pass laws on all subjects mentioned in the state list as per the constitution. It can also pass laws on concurrent subjects. The state made a law in a concurrent subject will become inoperative when the center also passes a law on the same subject. The passing of bill into a law follows the same procedure as in the Union Parliament. Every bill passes through 3 readings. Then it becomes an act with the governor's assent. Financial powers. The legislature controls the finances of the state. The lower house enjoys greater power than the upper house in money matters. Money bills can be introduced only in the lower house or the assembly, that is, legislative assembly. No new tax can be levied without the sanction and permission of the assembly. So, the importance of the lower house is very important. So, controls over the executive. The Council of Ministers is responsible to the assembly. The ministers have to answer questions asked by the members of the legislature. They can be removed from office if the assembly passes a vote of no confidence motion against the ministry. Finally, we are going to discuss about the judiciary of a state. What is a judiciary? It is a system of courts that interprets and it provides a law in the name of the state. So it gives you, it is the system of courts that interprets and amenities of the law in the name of the state. High Court, judiciary of a state. High courts, the judicial authorities of a country. Judiciary, it's nothing but a judicial authorities of a country. The institution of High Court originated in India in 1862 when the High Courts were set up at Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. It is an order, one word answer, important one. In the course of time, each province in British India came to have its own High Court. After 1950, a High Court existing in a province became the High Court for the corresponding state. The High Courts are the highest courts at the state level. This is the High Court of Madras. I think everybody knows that. The Constitution of India provides for a High Court for each state, but the 7th Amendment Act of 1956 authorized the Parliament to establish a common High Court for 2 or more states or for 2 or more states and a union territory. For example, the states of Punjab and Haryana and the Union Territory of Chandigarh have a common High Court situated at Chandigarh. Please make a note. The states of Punjab and Haryana and the Union Territory of Chandigarh have a common High Court situated at Chandigarh. The High Court of Guwahati is a common for 4 northeastern states of Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. The High Court of Guwahati has its benches in Itanagar, Kohima and Aizawl. Look at the importance. The High Court of Madras is one of the 3 high courts in India established in the 3 presidency towns of Bombay, Calcutta and Madras by letters patent granted by Queen Victoria bearing date 26th June 1862. The High Court building is the second largest judicial complex in the world after London. So, look at this. Delhi, though not a state, has its own separate high court. It's an union territory and the capital one, you know very well. Every high court has a chief justice and a number of judges. The number of judges varies from state to state. The number of judges of each high court is determined by the president. So, at present, there are 25 high courts for 28 states, including New Andhra Pradesh High Court established in 1st January 2019 at principal seat in Amravati, and the 9 union territories are there. Look at the jurisdiction and powers of a high court. Jurisdiction, it's nothing but official power to make legal decisions and judgments. Jurisdiction is nothing but authority or control, also we can say. In their judicial capacity, the high courts of the presidency towns, Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, have both original and appellate jurisdiction, while other high courts have mostly appellate jurisdiction alone. Only in matters of admiralty, probate, matrimonial and contempt of court, they have original jurisdiction. The presidency high courts have original jurisdiction in which the amount involved is more than 2,000, and in criminal cases which are committed to them by the presidency magistrates. Appellate jurisdiction. As courts of appeal, all high courts entertain appeals in civil and criminal cases from their subordinate courts as well as on their own. Civil, in between the states and between the areas. They have, however, no jurisdiction over tribunals established under the laws relating to the armed force to the country. It's appellate jurisdiction. Now the writs. As we all know about the writs, there are 5 types. Now look at the jurisdiction under Article 226 of the Constitution. The high courts are given powers of issuing writs, not only for the enforcement of the fundamental rights but also for the other purpose. In exercise of this power, a court may issue the same type of writs, orders or directions which the Supreme Court is empowered to issue under Article 32. The jurisdiction to issue the writs under this article is larger in the case of high courts, for which the Supreme Court can issue them only where a fundamental right has been infringed. A high court can issue them not only in such cases but also where an ordinary legal right has been infringed. It has the power to issue the 5 kinds of writs. What are that? Habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto and certiorari. Supervisory jurisdiction. High Court has the power of superintendence over all courts and tribunals functioning in its territorial jurisdiction, except military courts or tribunals. Thus it may call for returns from them, make and issue general rules and prescribe the forms of regulating the practice and proceedings of them, prescribe forms in which books, entries and accounts are to be kept by them, and settle the fees payable to the sheriff, clerks, officers and legal practitioners of them. Look at that. A special court jurisdiction chosen by the government to examine particular problem, that is jurisdiction. Now look at the summary. Court of record. All the decisions and decrees issued by the High Court are printed and are kept as a record for future reference by the court as well as by the lawyers in such a need arises. In case any records they need, the old what are the cases are pending or completed, all the records they used to keep very carefully. So it is very useful whenever it is need arises. So thus it also acts as a court of record. Look at the statue of Samanidhi Kanda Cholan at Madras High Court. Now look at the summary. The governor is the constitutional head of the state executive. The chief minister is appointed by the governor of the state. The Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the state legislature. The Legislative Assembly is the real center of power in the state. At present, there are 25 high courts for 28 states and 9 union territories. So children, please go through the lesson carefully once again. If you have any doubt, you can call me back. Okay, thank you dears.